Morning everyone. Just give you a bit of an idea, we've got a couple of segments for the press conference, so we'll of course do the Tropical Cyclone Jasper update, taking questions on the cyclone, then other matters relevant to my portfolios, and then we've got the Queensland Ambulance Service here to provide information about their current work around heatwave and other seasonal demands and impacts. So, everyone ready to go? Okay, excellent. Well, Tropical Cyclone Jasper is now intensified to a Category 4 cyclone. It's unusually early, really, for Queenslanders, but irrespective of the time of year, we know that Queenslanders are prepared. Queenslanders are very experienced when it comes to natural disasters, and we're a resilient bunch. But we also have some outstanding people to rely on, people committed to community safety, our emergency services, the Bureau of Meteorology, as well as also all those support agencies and non-government organisations. Can I reassure everyone that this cyclone is being monitored very closely, that a lot of preparedness has already happened and will continue to happen, and a lot of information will continue to be provided to the community as we get some more certainty about the location and also intensity that this cyclone might impact the coast. Big message for everyone in the community though, continue to pay attention to the authorities. This is not a practice, this is not a drill, this is the real deal, and cyclones can obviously have devastating impacts on community, property and life. So please listen to the authorities, do the right thing. When the authorities ask you to act, please act. I've got Dave Grant here from the Bureau, and then we'll hear from police as well as also fire. Dave.
Good morning. So as the Minister said, we do now have severe tropical cyclone Jasper, which is situated well offshore of the Queensland east coast and is approximately 1,200 kilometres east-northeast of both Cairns and Townsville and has reached Category 4 intensity earlier this morning. Jasper is currently expected to go through a weakening phase over the course of the weekend. However, there is a significant risk that the system could re-intensify into a severe tropical cyclone as it approaches the North Queensland coast, and with also the potential that could make landfall in the areas between Cooktown and Townsville around the middle of next week. At this stage, a tropical cyclone watch may be issued as early as Sunday, but though this will be highly dependent on the movement and development of the system. There is still a considerable amount of uncertainty in how strong and where the system will track over the coming days, but of course the Bureau will keep the community up to date with their latest warnings and advice over the coming days as this event approaches next week. Heavy showers should develop along the central and northern Queensland coast from Monday, and this activity may even tend to rain areas. And as a result of that, we will closely monitor the need for a flood watch for coastal catchments in the area around North Queensland. Otherwise, beyond the cyclone, we also do have severe heatwave conditions that do continue across areas of far North Queensland and also through areas of Western and Southern Queensland over the next few days. But of course, those conditions will probably start to abate as we move into next week with the approach of Cyclone Jasper. That's the key messages from the Bureau. I'll now hand over to Queensland Police. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning. As the State Disaster Coordinator, what I can say is our system is undergoing preparations and we are prepared. The State Disaster Coordination Centre has now moved to alert and will continue to closely monitor the movement of Jasper. As we've heard from the Bureau, however, there's a lot of uncertainty about the movement of the cyclone, the timing of the cyclone, the intensity of the cyclone. So from Mackay all the way through to Cairns, I have personally engaged now with all of our district disaster coordinators, our local disaster coordinators, and preparations are well underway in those areas. The State Disaster Coordination Group will be meeting today, and a lot of our coordinators will be getting a dial-in and updated briefing from the Bureau, as well as our expectations around managing potential evacuation centres, potential flooding events all the way through. The key to this is, at the moment, as we know, school holidays have started and we're getting ready for Christmas. So we have a lot of people on our roads, we have a lot of people on our beaches now, camping. We have a lot of people who are moving into the areas from Mackay North who aren't our local residents. So it's really important, can I ask everyone to stay in contact with our emergency messaging, whether it's be through the police Facebook page, through the Bureau of Meteorology, or our other emergency services. It's critically important that you stay in contact with us no matter where you are enjoying your weekend. This is also the time to start preparing your emergency kits if you're from Mackay North. So, really basic stuff, keep your car topped up with petrol. have enough food in your house to last you 72 hours. Maybe get a little bit of extra bottled water, a power pack for your phone, and just be aware of what you may need to do, because we know that if we get a cyclone cross or if we get flooding in towns, the first 72 hours are critical for emergency services to be able to get our response mechanisms in place. So this is the time. So please stay in contact with our emergency services. Start thinking about your basic supplies over Christmas. If you are camping, if you are out in our national parks, it's important you stay connected with us, because it's those areas that are hard to reach with our messaging. The other thing is, if you're driving on the roads, can I put a real road safety message out? It is always challenging at this time of year, and police and emergency services respond to a number of incidents, and we saw a fatal incident last evening. Can everyone please take care on the roads, and particularly as the cyclone becomes closer? Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. Our planning is well advanced. All our resources in Queensland Fire and Emergency Service have made plans and are checking equipment in the event of this cyclone crossing the coast next week. The State Emergency Service and our Fire and Rescue Service swiftwater technicians are all ready to deploy into the areas that may be impacted by this cyclone. So our plans are well advanced, and when we get a little bit more certainty as to where the cyclone may cross, we'll be deploying additional resources into those areas to help the local emergency services in the event that this turns nasty, Cyclone Jasper. I'd like to reinforce Shane's comments about safety on the roads. Whilst we do have State Emergency Service and our swiftwater fire and rescue technicians are all ready and available and will be in situation once this crosses, we don't want to use those people and put them in danger by people driving into floodwater. So please listen to all the emergency service warnings and make sure that no one drives into flooded causeways or roadways in this particular event. Thank you.
Questions on cyclones?
Just one for the Bureau of Meteorology, if that's okay. Just those staff on Willis Island, are they being evacuated, or will they be evacuated at any point?
Yeah, so in terms of our Willis Island crew, we are putting in firm plans to look at what we do with them over the coming days, and with decisions to be made on them during the course of today.
It's been out there since 1921, is that right?
What's that, sorry?
That Bureau post has been out there since 1921, is that right?
Sorry, the Willis Island. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the details of how long it's been out there. Definitely has been out there for a long time. It provides a lot of useful information for our forecasters and also the community in terms of informing them of the location of any tropical lows or cyclones out in the Coral Sea, particularly those that have a risk to the North Queensland coast. So it's putting itself to very good use during this event.
Do you have any details on how and when those 4 meteorologists will be evacuated?
We can share those details a bit later, but yeah, we're putting in firm plans during the course of today. Yeah, I haven't been in contact with them personally, so not sure.
What's your assessment, given all the dire forecasts about the fire threat this summer, in terms of what's going to be the greatest danger, given that these storms are imminent?
Yeah, well, I guess we are in severe weather season now. Our current climate outlooks do indicate generally warm and dry conditions across Queensland. We've seen already some significant bushfire activity across the state. We're now during spring and into early summer, so we are now in our transition period where we do start move from our bushfire season into the storm and cyclone season. And yeah, we are now starting to move into December, so we are in cyclone season as well. So we're in that transition phase, shifting from our bushfire risk, which can happen any time of the year. But of course now we're shifting firmly into storm and cyclone season, as we're now seeing with Jasper and the risk it brings to North Queensland communities.
Is it likely this cyclone will be upgraded to a Category 5 at some point?
Yeah, cannot discount that. On our current forecast track map, it is currently a Category 4 system. Expected to remain at that intensity during the course of today. Could we discount a Category 5? No, we couldn't. But yeah, we are forecasting a general weakening. It will go through a general weakening phase over the course of the weekend. And then in terms of its forecast strength and intensity moving into next week, there is still a considerable amount of uncertainty. But of course, the Bureau will keep the community up to date with its latest warnings and forecasts as we move into next week.
Just putting the cyclones to one side, is there any danger of seeing a repeat of those slow-moving East Coast lows that we witnessed a couple of years ago with the catastrophic flooding? Is that in the long-term forecast? Or
Generally, in our longer-term outlook, we are generally depicting a warm and dry outlook for a good chunk of Queensland over the next few months. But of course, as we've noted, we are in severe weather season now. So despite the fact we do have an El Nino and generally a warm and dry outlook, we can still get high-impact rainfall events during these El Nino seasons. So the potential repeat of rainfall incidences like that can definitely not be discounted. At the moment, our primary focus is on the North Queensland risk with Tropical Cyclone Jasper, which of course will bring any potential risks associated with a severe tropical cyclone, and with that does come a rain and potential flooding risk as well.
Heat wave, do you have any information on the predicted temperatures across some of those regions?
Yeah, so through areas western and southern Queensland, which are now experiencing severe heat wave conditions, temperatures are heating up into the low 40s at the moment, with general overnight conditions around the high 20s as well. And they'll continue over the next few days, with it being seeing a gradual abatement into next week, but still remaining quite hot for those communities.
You just
Cyclone questions?
Okay.
yeah, I was going to say, can we ask the Minister about unrelated things?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's it for cyclones. Okay. Okay, other questions?